I'm doing well, Carla. Hey, congratulations on leopard skin for
Thank you so
Peacock.
much. Thank you.
There are so many twists and turns in this series. I mean,
Indeed.
I don't even know how we're going to even talk about this. We have to keep all this under
I
secret.
know it is funny there. This isn't always the case, but with this one, it really is one of those ones that though I love talking to you, that I wish that, it's one of those ones I almost just feel like just watch it, because anything we say will either give something away or like what I love about this show, what I can say is one of the things that I really love is that it is very much like a cinematic novel, in the sense that it goes to places that you don't expect. It takes you along the ride with a lot of delicacy and intricacy. And just when you think you're watching a show about criminals breaking into a house and you think you're going to be, sort of on this kind of action show kind of feeling, you realize, oh, wow, these criminals who have broken into this house with these two women in it, what's happening in the house is actually much, much stranger than the fact that criminals have broken into it, So it's something that much like reading the scripts, it's I think when you read so many scripts, you end up kind of going, oh, I know where this is going to go. And with this one, I really didn't. And I think that will be the case also with people watching it, is that it takes you on a journey of really identity, and people trying to being forced perhaps even to redetermine who they are and what this next moment in their lives will be.
I mean that is surprising. I almost thought this had to be a novel because there's just so much rich backstory to these
Yeah.
characters.
Sebastian Gutierrez is pretty extraordinary that way. There are a few filmmakers that I find have his attention to detail in that regard with character, and particularly female characters. Interestingly, he was raised by a family of women in South America, and so I think that has something to do with it. But and I think that there's also something interesting, which is that these women are all, or for sure, Ana de la Reguera's character, Gaite Jansen's character, and my character are dealing with this sort of specter of this very important male figure in their lives who is now gone, and who are they on their own, and what do they want their lives to look like. So it's an interesting, the environment that we shot in was so extraordinary. This takes place on a deserted beach in a beautiful house in Mexico, but we were able to shoot it on a beach, a very deserted beach, and it was during much of COVID. So the idea that we could be somewhere beautiful in a sort of pocket was also so extraordinary. But it really lends itself to the sort of magic realism that the show has as well, and the dreamlike quality. And so we keep being grounded by these criminals who are trying to escape and who are threatening the two women in the house, and also the housekeeper, who we're going to find out has a huge history also with the man of the house and the matriarch of the whole thing. So you're going to start, and then you see these sort of untimely dinner guests who have come to see, it's come for all different reasons, and they've all come to this one place together. So it's definitely a pressure cooker.
Speaking of that house is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been I want to say, a wonderful workation.
Yes, it was the best workation I've ever been on, for sure. It was truly magical. I mean, we were able to literally walk from where we were living to where we were filming with no shoes on. We got our feet in the sand every day. I think I was like the healthiest I've ever been. It was pretty extraordinary. And again, always environment is a character in a piece, but in this piece, possibly more than anything I've ever shot, it's a massive character. Also because the Batty and Alba characters who are living in this house together until the criminals break in, in Inocencia, the housekeeper comes by occasionally, but they have very little outward gaze. And so that's where, so they've started to create this insular world, and kind of in the height of it is when the criminals break in. So, you know, we think we're going to be concerned about these women, which we are, because these criminals are dangerous and desperate. But also what's happening in the house is potentially stranger than the fact that the criminals have broken in.
I love you in so many roles, but I must know is, how did you get in the headspace of Alba this time? I mean, she gets through you know, into interesting situations.
Yes, for sure. You know, it's I think that Alba it was one of the most unusual characters that I've ever gotten to play. And part of it was about the fact that she is in a chapter of her life where everything that she thought she was, she's questioning. And she's seeing, in a way, a mirror image of herself through the Batty character, in which she is processing a lot. And for me, you know, there's always the, you know, you're not doing your job well if you're judging your character and if you're looking at it from the outside. But there are some really intense things that Alba does in this. And so I kept sort of looking at it from the outside in of, oh, if we were allowed to make mistakes with someone, if someone allowed, if two people allowed each other to kind of jump off the cliff and see who they really are and who they are to each other, what would you do? And I just kept asking those questions as I was doing this. Thankfully, Gaite Jansen and I have worked together before on Jet, and she's an extraordinary actress. And so I think both of us felt a great deal of trust and ability to go to places that were dangerous and scary and exciting creatively. So hopefully audiences will appreciate that. Just this exploration of identity through a really entertaining piece. It's an unusual, again, it's something that as I keep trying to explain it, I keep going back to, oh, it's sort of like a cinematic novel where you get a story within a story within a story. And those are my favorite kind of things, because I feel like at this point, I always know how something's going to end, and this you do not know.
I definitely do believe that you pulled it off.
Thank you so much.
And Carla, one last thing. I'm going to try to carefully word this. I want to say, how did you pull off acting while being contained in a certain situation? You know, with your eyes.
What do you mean?
You know, it's because you know you're contained in movements and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And
I don't know. You're being very mysterious. So now I actually don't know what you're saying.
how about this with others in the bathtub?
Oh yes, okay. This I was thinking, are you going into that? Yeah. Well, that was amazing, because I won't say anything other than to say that there at some point is required a bathtub, and 4 people have to fit into it. That's a hard bathtub to find. So we were very fortunate that we were able to, because it was something that was written in before we ever found the location. So that was when we saw that bathtub, we thought, aha, I think we found our place. But in truth, it was really the beach. Yes, no, that was really that was a really fun. That was sort of going back to almost, that's where I think theater really helps. You know, you have 4 people in a very confined space with some great, well-placed dark comedy, and then, you know, you add Philip Winchester to the mix and you just have a blast. We really had such an extraordinary cast. Honestly, everybody, it really felt like everyone was just on their A game, and that also made it extremely satisfying.
Most excellent. Well said, Carla. Hey, thank you very much for carrying this conversation without revealing anything.
Thank you.
We pulled it off.
We did.